Let's take a look at the adds and drops from this past week in fantasy basketball coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. We're going to take a look at the 5 players you should be dropping from your squad and the 5 players you should be picking up after week 16 in the fantasy basketball season. Before we get started, of course, if you like this type of content, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so, and keep an eye out. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving somebody a PSA 9 slab of Anthony Edwards. Let's dive in. We are going to go first to Miami. Kyle Lowry, 72% owned, 24 minutes per game, 4.5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal on 25% shooting. Lowry is a declining shooter, has been for weeks now, and he's now dealing with a knee issue. Of course, age is catching up to him here. I don't know how viable a fantasy option he's going to be for the rest of the season. There's better players to pick up, and it's a 72% ownership tab. I imagine Kyle Lowry is going to be dropping probably to the 60s, maybe even the 50s by the end of this week. Might be time to move on. Up next in Memphis, we have Dillon Brooks, 30 minutes per game, 9 points, 1.5 rebound, 1.5 assists, 1 steal on 43% shooting from the field, 83% from the line. Better shooting percentages than we've seen of weeks late, but he has, of course, been in the news for the wrong reasons here. He's been highlighted for his dirty play of late. He has been a poor shooter overall this year, and he's not doing enough still peripherally in the other stats to be able to boost the low scoring and low percentages that we have to deal with Dillon Brooks on a regular occasion. So I would say, again, if he's sitting on your team here, now might be the time to cut him loose to pick up somebody who is going to actually help your fantasy squad out for the rest of the year. Sticking in Memphis, we've got Brandon Clark, 58% owned, 18 minutes per game, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 56% shooting from the field, 100% from the line. He's now losing minutes to Xavier Tillman, and he can't seem to hold on to the regular minutes that he needs in order for him to be productive. He's a great point per minute type player, but just not getting nearly enough minutes to be able to really help out a fantasy squad. And next we're going to Charlotte. This is a hold. If you were thinking of dropping Gordon Hayward, I would say not to do it quite so quickly here. Last week he was 27 minutes per game, 10.8 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.0 assists on 41% shooting from the field, 91% from the line. There's just been word that Hayward's minute limit is going to increase, so he has been hovering around the 25 to 27 minute mark of late. I'm imagining he's going to be seeing minutes north of 30, which should kind of give us a better feel as to what we can expect here from Gordon Hayward for the rest of the season. He has been shooting quite inconsistent over the course of his return. He had some true 100% shooting days, followed by like a 2 for 11. So we have to kind of see how he evens out, but I think he's going to still be worth a look based on the amount of minutes he's projected to get per night. To wrap this up here, we have Jared Vanderbilt in Utah, 58% owned, 18 minutes per game last week, 3 points, 7.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 50% shooting from the field, 0% from the line. He's now got some back issues to deal with the fact that he's kind of locked into a timeshare there with Kelly Olynyk. Kessler, of course, is balling out right now for Utah, and he's going to be absorbing, I would imagine, the majority of the center minutes going forward for the rest of the season, which leaves fewer minutes for guys like Vanderbilt and Olynyk. So if you're sticking around with Vanderbilt here, you have to hope for more minutes than 18 minutes per game in order for him to be useful on your squad. All right, let's move over to 5 players that you should be looking at picking up here. Malik Monk is going to start us off here, 42% owned, 29 minutes per game here last week, 17.3 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 1.8 steals as well. They're 56% shooting from the field, 100% from the line. Sacramento has a 4-game week here this week, and Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray are both struggling right now from the field, which gives way to Malik Monk possibly picking up some extra minutes here while he's hot. Monk has been in the double digits for scoring here in the last 5, so we're hoping that trend continues, and if it does, he also does enough in the other categories to really warrant a spot. So if you're looking for somebody to pick up here, he might not be a bad one here to try out here for the week. Up next in Brooklyn, we got Cam Thomas, 50% owned, 25 minutes per game here last week, 28 points, 3.3 rebounds, 2.7 assists on 60% shooting from the field, 87% from the line. Kyrie Irving is now gone. Dinwiddie is not going to be arriving to the team until possibly Thursday, which gives ample opportunity for Cam Thomas to ball out for the next couple of days. I imagine he's going to slide into that starting lineup, and you might see some big numbers from him in the short term, and possibly fantasy useful numbers once everything kind of settles down with the trade here and whatever happens to KD, whether or not he sticks with the team, or rumors given that he is possibly on the way out there as well. I think Cam Thomas is a great pickup right now. If you can get him in your league here, I say don't hesitate, pick him up and see how it goes here. Up next, we have Denny Avdia for Washington, 50% owned, 27 minutes per game here last week, 16.7 points, 6.3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.7 steals, 47% shooting from the field, 67% from the line. He had a 2-point dud, did not play, and 2 very productive games here last week, kind of bookmarking both of them there. So Avdia, if he's playing and if he's on, could be a very good source of stats for your team, not just scoring. He's a good playmaker. He's a solid rebounder for his size. The hope is, of course, that he continues to get minutes off that bench or possibly slides into the starting lineup here at some point. But I think either way there, he's going to be productive enough to warrant a roster spot. Up next, we're going to Toronto. Chris Boucher, 24 minutes per game last week, 12.3 points, 8.5 rebounds, 1 block on 61% shooting from the field, 60% from the line. Boucher, of course, for those who don't know him, big energy off the Toronto bench here, especially of late. He's been knocking down threes as well, which is really helping him out here for his points total and his viability in fantasy squads. For those who remember Peak Boucher from a couple years ago, he's definitely a fun player to own. He'll chip in blocks, he'll chip in rebounds with solid percentages once he gets himself going there. Hopefully this is something that we will see kind of continue for the rest of the season. And then last but not least, we're going to go to Washington. Daniel Gafford, 44% owned. We have 28 minutes per game here, 9.5 points, 8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1 block, 67% shooting from the field, 60% from the line. He has inherited a pretty solid role, and the team is now settling, so I expect that Daniel Gafford will receive consistent production, or at least a chance for consistent production on a daily basis, provided he stays healthy. I would say that his ceiling is probably a lower key dub-dub type player here with 2 blocks potential, so if you can use somebody like that in your squad, it might not be a bad idea to chip in and pick up a Daniel Gafford here before it's too late. And that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this here. If you did, please leave a like. Subscribe again to the channel if you haven't already done so. But that's going to do it for now. We are going to sign off, but we'll catch you guys on our next episode.